Dear students, this is Mr. Maher, and it looks like we come to the end of this year, which was really a lovely year with you. Our last lesson is about writing skills. So today, inshallah, we will discuss some few strategies and ways of writing a short story. So first of all, let me show you some tips here. Writing a successful story or writing successful stories, a successful short story will often have 2 or 3 characters. So we should have 2 or 3 characters, an interesting plot, and a clear beginning, a middle, and end. So this is the right order: beginning, middle, and end, right? Good writers use several means to capture readers' interest and make them continue reading. These are very important means, so I want you to pay attention to them, okay? These include using dramatic opening sentences to draw the attention of the reader. Dramatic opening sentences. Number 2, we use descriptive adjectives and adverbs. So we use an adjective which comes before the noun to describe it, an adjective or an adverb. Direct speech, when we use our direct speech between quotation, right? Direct speech. Short dramatic sentences. Short dramatic sentences. And sometimes a twist in the plot in which something unexpected happens. Okay? So these are the means that we need. I want you to read them again and make sure you understand them very well. Now, let me give you an exercise. Exercise number 1. We have a story here. I want you to look at this story. It's a short story. I want you to decide which one of these is the beginning of the story, which one is the middle, which one is the end. So you may pause the video, read the story, then come back and let's check the answers together. Okay? You can pause the video now and come back later. Okay, now let me show you the answers. The first this sentence or this paragraph is the beginning of the story. Let me read it for you. It was the chance of a lifetime for Mark. He has just been hired as a lawyer in one of the most successful companies in the country, and he was determined to be a success. This paragraph is the middle of the story. While he was preparing for a court one day, a colleague paid him a visit, which means visited him. He seemed very anxious as he sat on Mark's desk and whispered, "Mark, I need your help with something." This paragraph, it looks like the end of the story. Looking back, Mark realized how stupid he'd been to listen to his colleague. He promised himself that he'd never be trusting again. So the idea here is, as we explained here, we should always have a beginning to our story, a middle, and an end. You can later on write your own story. Okay. Let's move on. Exercise 2. In this exercise, we are going to choose a dramatic sentence. It should be a short dramatic sentence. So we need to choose which one of these is the best. Look at the examples of language from a story and choose the lines which are best. It should be dramatic and short and direct. Anna stopped and looked up, but then she couldn't move. Anna froze. So if I want to draw the attention of the reader, I'm going to write this sentence, Anna froze. This is a dramatic sentence. Number 2, the robber raised his gun and screamed, "Lie on the floor." The robber raised his gun and told us to lie on the floor. This one looks more dramatic. Lie on the floor. See, it's using the direct speech. As you see, this is a direct speech. So these are the means that we discussed to draw the interest of the reader. Let's take a look at number 3. The chair fell on the floor. The chair spun round and clattered noisily to the floor. You see, the sound of the sentence is different. This is a style of writing. Now let's move on. The last one. The manager glanced in the direction of the robber and stammered his reply. The manager looked at the robber and then replied. So this one sounds more dramatic. This one sounds more dramatic, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's go to exercise number 4, but I believe I should zoom in. It's much better. Let me zoom in here. One more. Okay. Now, in exercise 4, it says, read the model story and number the paragraphs in the correct order. Before we start reading it, I want you to take a look at this picture. Look at this boy, look at this man, and they are in a store, as you can see. And this would be a story. The title of this story is Henry's Last Day. So we need to read the story here, as you see it. Then we need to put the paragraphs in the correct order. We need to order the events of the story. Which one of the paragraphs is the beginning, and so on. Okay, I'm going to show you the answers directly if you want. Then underline examples of descriptive adjectives and adverbs, direct speech, and short dramatic sentences. So my lovely students, I want you now to read this story. First, number the paragraphs in the correct order and underline examples of adjectives, adverbs that are descriptive, and some direct speech and some dramatic sentences. So now you can pause the video, then we can start together. Okay? Okay. Now let me order or reorder the story for you. Look at this sentence. I believe this one should be number 1. Let me read it for you. Luke was very excited on his first day at Quigley's toy shop. Mr. Quigley welcomed him warmly, saying, "I am sure you will fit in nicely, Luke." And Luke smiled back at him eagerly. I believe this one should be the second event of our story. A short time later, as Mr. Quigley was informing Luke about the shop, he explained that he only worked on Fridays and that the shop was usually run by the manager, Henry. He said that Henry was a good friend and he promised to introduce him to Luke when he arrived at 10 o'clock. "You will really like him," he said. Now, the next event is this one. This is number 3. At 10 o'clock exactly, a tall, thin man entered. "Ah, Henry," said Mr. Quigley. "This is Luke, the new assistant." "Hello," said Henry coldly. Luke smiled but couldn't help feeling disappointed. Henry didn't seem to be as friendly as Mr. Quigley had promised. This one should be number 4. The following Friday, Luke arrived early, so he was shocked to see the shop door was slightly open. He went inside nervously and saw the back of a tall man behind the counter. He was taking money out of the till. The till is the cash. He was taking money from the cash and putting it into his wallet. Suddenly, the man swung round. Oh, it was Henry. "What are you doing?" Luke stammered. He was really shocked. "Keep your mouth shut or you'll regret it," said Henry nastily. Okay, so let's go to the last event of our story here. Luke began to back away. His mind is troubled. Then he heard a familiar voice behind him. "I saw everything, Henry," said Mr. Quigley, shaking. "And I know you threatened Luke. Put that wallet down and get out of my shop." Henry didn't need to be asked twice. He dropped the wallet and ran for the door without a backward glance. You see, these are the way that those writers bring those stories in a dramatic way. So as we said, we need some like here we need direct speech. Anything between anything between quotation is a direct speech. So if you want a direct speech, so these are some direct speech. This one too. This one is a direct speech, as you can see. Okay. Okay, if you need some dramatic sentences, مثلا here, look at this one. He dropped the wallet and ran out for the door without a backward glance. This is dramatic sentences, by the way. This is a dramatic sentence. Or drop it, do it, don't do that. Okay. We need some adjectives. Okay, if you want some descriptive descriptive adjectives and adverbs, we have here slightly open. Let me get another example. مثلا nervously, okay, and friendly. These are some examples of descriptive adjectives. So this is a style of writing. These are some styles of writing. I hope you can do it in your own way. Now let me move to next exercise, which is exercise 5. We need to answer the following questions based on the story that we already discussed. And this is the correct order, you see it? This is the correct order of the story. Question number 1. How does Luke feel on his first day? Habibi, I wanted to look at the story and answer these questions. These are very simple questions. Let me show you the answers. But you write the answers, then get the correct answer with me, okay? So let me show you the answer. He was very excited. The second question, what does Henry look like? The answer is tall and thin. Number 3, why is Luke disappointed? Because Henry wasn't as friendly as Mr. Quigley had promised. Number 4, what does Henry do behind the counter? The answer is he takes money out of the till and puts it into his wallet. Okay, the last question, what kind of a character do you think Mr. Quigley has got? Here you can write your own answer based on the story, على فكرة. Here the answer is possible answer, kind and trusting. Kind and trusting. So write down, my lovely students, and let me take you to the next exercise. Here we need to think about, I will show you the title again. It's about writing a plan, how to plan your story. Okay, let me zoom in here a little bit. Write the correct paragraph number from the model next to these description. So this is what do we need to do when we write our own story, okay? Okay, now let me open it here. We need to decide, write the correct paragraph number from the model next to these descriptions. Actually, I showed you already, but I will write them to you again. First of all, this is the first paragraph. We set the scene and introduce some of the main characters. This is the beginning of the story. Then here we give background details about the situation leading up to the main event and introduce another character. Then in our story, Shabab, we introduce a twist in the story when Luke saw Henry behind the till. So introduce a twist in the story and develop the characters. Or especially when they met, when he saw him, he was disappointed because he doesn't look like friendly. Then describe the main event. Yes, the main event was the stealing, when he is trying to steal some money. Describe the main event and the characters' reactions to it. Finally, it brings the story to an end. Because as we see here in the last paragraph, that Quigley, or Mr. Quigley, caught Henry red-handed. Okay, so write those answers in your student's book. But this is very important, how we plan our writing, how we develop events and actions, how do we describe the characters. Okay, fine. Now let me one more time take you to useful language. The useful language, as we explained, and this is very important, Habibi Hon, this is the useful language. How to order events, this is very important. How to go from an event to another. So we use these expressions at first, in the beginning, just then, a few days, a few weeks, a few months later, after a while, looking back, at the end of the day. These are some adverbs that we need to use to order the events. Finally, I will send you a task, and this is your task, my lovely students. I want you to write a story with the title An Unusual Day at School, or Unusual Day at Work, Unusual Day at any place you choose. This is a lovely task. I like it. We do the same as we explained how to decide our characters of the stories. Remember using the adjectives to describe these characters. Here, think about how the story will start and how the events will develop. Then decide how the story will end. Make a plan for your story and decide how you will organize the events. Use the plan on the left to help you. Use your notes, your plan, and the useful language above to write your story. Make sure you use a good opening sentence, plenty of adjectives and adverbs, both direct and reported speech. Read your story carefully when you have finished to check that it has beginning, middle, and an end, and that it is interested to read. Also, my lovely students, if you don't want to write it now, you can write it later on. But if you go to your workbook and also do some exercises of the workbook about writing, this would be the task for you, especially this page, which is page 84. 84, we have a writing task. Because we have a short time, so I need you to cover the workbook exercises. And remember, when you finish, you will find the model answer in the files in our team. So write your answer first, then go check the correct answer. This is it. This is the end of our class. Thank you so much for being with me. Inshallah, we will meet again very soon. Bye bye to all of you, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.